Hello and welcome to Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. This is all about longevity. So at the request of one of the students in the class, I'm recording this lesson on the topic of longevity and maximizing it. And I know that I have mentioned before many times that the original design of this human body was not to have a body that would wear out in 100 years. A mere 100 years. It's slightly ridiculous to even consider that proposal. No, your body is an amazing piece of spiritual and energetic and biological technology that was designed to be able to be used for thousands of years through cellular regeneration. So several factors contribute toward longevity. So some of these factors are ingestion, basically what the body ingests, structure, and when I say structure here, I'm really talking about this and this over here. So to verbalize what I've just pointed out, when I refer to structure, I'm talking about your belief system and the energetic structure of a being, the non-physical structure of energy as it flows through your body. There's also context, which is essentially the external events or the reality within which one is submerged. And we'll get more into this, but to use the analogy, it doesn't matter you can eat kale salad every day, but if the reality that you are submerged in is a battlefield where people are constantly throwing, axes and bullets and bombs at you, your longevity will be severely decreased no matter how well you eat or what you ingest. And the final, basic structure that I've put in here is emanation, what you send out, the energy and the reality that you send out. So let's just begin with ingestion. Okay, in terms of maximizing longevity and considering ingestion, we're talking about this time and place, the rules for living in this time and place, because the rules that were applicable to other times and places clearly will not help you right now. So when we talk about ingestion, one of the main things that you ingest is food. Of course, you're quite aware of that. I know in level 1, I recorded a lot of material about ascension and the essential characteristics of food that feed ascension. So what we're talking about here is food that itself contains a large amount of light or unconditional love. I just used green as the heart color, the color of unconditional love. So the first thing is, of course, you ingest food every day in order to eat. The quality of the food that you eat matters, rather. I will begin again. The quality of the food that you eat matters. So the food should be the highest quality possible, meaning that it is organic. It has not been adulterated or changed from its original format. The quantity of the food that you have matters, because clearly if I gave you one organically grown bean per day, that would not be enough to live on. You need optimum levels of nutrition. And then there's also the way that you ingest food. So eating unconsciously, meaning that you do not taste your food, that you are not mindful, that you do not sense it as it is in your mouth and as it is entering your digestive tract. And even we can speak now about being mindful during the process of digestion and even during the process of excretion. When I ingest food, if I later have gas, and I'm like, wow, what made me have that reaction? I look into it and I change my diet accordingly. And when I excrete, I look at what's been excreted. I look at the color of my urine and feces and look at its texture and I say, hey, how is my digestion going? This means that I am aware. I am conscious of how well the quote-unquote engine of my body is utilizing the food or the fuel that I'm putting into my body. But more to the point, eating mindfully, whatever you eat, it absolutely imperative to eat it mindfully. So the most wonderful organic salad, if it is eaten quickly in the car while you're on your cell phone and doing 10 other million tasks, will not give you the same level of deep and profound nourishment that it will give you if you take 5 minutes to actually put down the phone, stop your car, and focus on the actual food. And gratitude also really helps. Even if it is a relatively quick prayer of thanks or gratitude that is said over food before you eat it, either verbally or non-verbally, that literally alchemically transforms the substance of food. So one good practice is being mindful before you eat, saying, I am so happy and appreciative of this wonderful good food that I have that sustains me. And if there are any modifications that you need to make, such as may any excess calories pass through me unabsorbed, or if you have any difficulties in your body, like may this nourishment go directly towards the blah, blah, blah part of my body that needs healing. So that is part of mindful eating. A lack of mindful eating would be defined as eating in front of the TV, eating while you're not really focused on what your food tastes and feels like, allowing your mind and your perception to be hijacked. And one of the worst things is eating while grumbling about anything that bothers you. You're really not feeding yourself, you're really just feeding feelings of anger. Food is not the only thing that we ingest. I only started with the most obvious and most visible thing that we ingest. We also ingest air. And air is not, let us say, the ingestion of air in a way that produces longevity is an artful act, in much the same way that ingesting pure sunlight is an artful act. That means that it takes practice and skill, and it is something that you hone or become better at doing. So we're talking now about prana or chi, or the non-physical, abstract energy of consciousness that gives us cellular vitality. So over here I have this diagram that I actually did not draw, but it shows very nicely the connection between these areas over here. This is the cells of your body, and those are actual photographs of cells. And these areas over here, which are the geometric forms or line drawings of those cells as they are growing. And this prana or chi or abstract energy is the energy that feeds the cells and keeps them healthy. Really, in terms of maximizing longevity, what we want to do is cultivate chi or cultivate prana. So the best question is to ask, what reduces chi and what adds to chi? And the basic answer to these questions have to do with bliss. You can feel it in your mind. Basically, anytime that you are feeling mental friction, you are reducing your longevity. When you are in bliss, bliss is the seemingly timeless state that is produced by having all of your chakras be in beautiful, perfect humming alignment. And there's no friction, and so there is no evidence of thought, and sometimes it feels as if eternal time is going by. Well, bliss shows that your energy is in a balanced and coherent state. You want to cultivate bliss. So the basic answer to longevity is perform activities that bring you to a state of bliss. For some people, it is long distance running, or some kind of repetitive cardiovascular exercise. For me, it is painting and drawing the patterns that I paint and draw. For some people, it might be music, or meditation, or going for long walks. Each person finds what puts them into a state of bliss or mindful mindlessness. When you experience that, you are experiencing basically pure health and longevity. Breathing is one way that we ingest and cultivate chi or prana. So one way is through our food and one way is through what we breathe in. When I breathe in, especially when I'm in meditation, the way that I do it is I breathe into my hara, my belly. So this is an energy reservoir that is located right down here. I am circling on the physical format of this physical human where the intestines and guts are. And I'm using orange because it is associated with the orange chakra and feelings and emotions. So when I begin breathing in, even though, of course, air is coming in here through my nose and my sinuses, what I actually feel is that energy is being drawn up through my root chakra. And your root chakra is not analogous with your anus, far from it. Like if this is the spine going down your back, your root chakra is down here. And it's not orange. Let's change to root chakra color, which is red. So it's right down here, your coccyx bone. And that is where everything attaches to earth and the beautiful divine earth energies. So when I fill up my hara, this comes from far east, this is the energy center of the belly, I feel energy flowing up my spine into this energy center. At the same time that I am breathing energy in through my nose, and I can feel that expanding my lungs, okay? So that's with the first breath. I breathe into my energy center in my belly and my abdomen. With my second breath, I fill up the energy center that is right here in my kind of stomach area. So this would be like the lower part of the lungs. Then I breathe in again, and I fill up what would be considered my high heart, kind of like the high chest area, the area directly in line with one's shoulders, okay? So above the breastbone at the shoulders. And then I breathe in one more breath, and this is actually, even though it goes in my nose, it feels like it's going up my sinuses and directly into my third eye here. And when I am completely filled up, when I feel like I have filled the totality of the reservoirs of my body, I then send that energy shooting out the top of my head, arching through my heart chakra to return to the sun, or through my third eye to return to the sun. But I make a circuit out of it. So all of that, what I just described, was energetic hygiene. Just like telling someone who has never had a physical body, hey, it is important to wash your body with water in order to be alive. Well, it is important to perform energetic hygiene in order to be alive. And doing this breathing exercise of first filling up this reservoir, this reservoir, this reservoir, this reservoir, and then shooting it up and out, that is a cleansing act. And filling yourself up with filling your reservoirs up with this lovely chi or prana or divine energy feeds all of this, feeds all of these beautiful cells on a biological level. So right now we're talking about understanding the coincidence of the non-physical realm and the physical realm, or the realm of pure energy and the realm, which is prana or chi, and the realm of physicality, which is the realm of the cells. And intermelding the two expertly is what gives rise to longevity. P.S. It takes a lifetime to master this. This is something that we practice every day as much as possible. And just like anything, like becoming a master cellist or a portrait artist or a yoga practitioner of yoga, it is necessary to do it every day, and you refine your practice and get better and better as you go. We're still on ingestion here, BTW. We also ingest medicine. So for me, this is a huge part of my life. Cannabis is absolutely food and medicine for longevity. So I go into this in, I believe, lesson 17 of the level 1 class, but cannabis itself is a part of the endogenous brain chemistry. It is an endogenous or naturally occurring brain chemical, but it's not just a brain chemical. Receptors are found all throughout the whole entire body, the digestive system, the major organs, and basically cannabis is an externalized form of what you have inside of your own body. we're coming now to a very literal understanding that the world around you is a reflection of your own interior state. So you clearly are reflecting your interior state by growing a plant that produces the same exact chemicals that your own brain can produce under the right circumstances. However, we do not exist under the right circumstances. I'll get into that when we get to context, and that is why many people develop diseases. When you develop diseases, then it's time to ingest cannabis, put some cannabis into there. However, it is good to ingest cannabis proactively before you develop diseases. And the best way to do that is by drinking it as a raw juice or eating it as a raw plant. So I drink it as a raw juice, and I highly recommend this to everyone. Even though I am a fan of psychoactivity, meaning chemicals that affect the brain, and I certainly appreciate the psychoactive effects that cannabis can have, many people find it not efficacious to their day, meaning that they have to drive a car or take care of children or perform brain surgery, meaning that their mind has to be clear and sharp. If you ingest raw cannabis juice in the same way that you would juice wheatgrass, you have to have a good, strong juicer because the plant is quite fibrous. But a shot of cannabis juice is not psychoactive, and it is absolutely essential for health and vitality. So if you live in a state where it is possible to grow or have access to cannabis, get leaves that are grown organically and not sprayed with pesticides and juice them for longevity. All right, we ingest other things too. We ingest energy. And anything that's an idea is energy. So what you watch on television and see in movies and read in books, you are ingesting. What you listen to in music and what you listen to in terms of a recording of someone's voice, be it positive, healing, or negative, harming, you are ingesting that information. So longevity has a lot to do with your internal belief system structure, and it is absolutely healthful and helpful to ingest the right energy. So let's say if you are a person who has cancer and you are interested in longevity, it is not efficacious for you to listen to a lot of videos that are made by traditional doctors giving traditional treatments about how to heal cancer with traditional medicine. If you are choosing a different route and you're choosing to heal your cancer with like a Rife machine or, cannabis extract, what I'm saying is you ingest ideas. So you need to ingest videos that are about natural healing and that are in alignment with what you are doing for yourself. This also has to do with whom you surround yourself with. It is not appropriate to expect, no matter how many good things you put in your mouth, to physically eat as medicine and good food, if you have a lot of people in your life that are giving you negative thoughts, if there are a lot of people that are feeding you with energy that is, when I say negative, I would say energy that is not constructive, that is not based in unconditional love, that does not nurture and nourish who and what you are. So, for example, if you had cancer and you chose a homeopathic treatment, and you were surrounded by people who said, that'll never work, you should get chemotherapy, stop doing what you're doing, that would not be pro-health and for longevity. So we are ingesting energy all the time. But all of this adds up together. Like someone might say, my grandmother lived to be 100 years old and she smoked tobacco her whole life, or she did whatever bad habit her whole life, smoked cigars her whole life. It is very true that she might have done that, and she might also have had the belief system that ingesting pig's knuckles and smoking cigars was absolutely perfect for her health. So what I am trying to say here is that there are many factors at play in determining what a person's eventual longevity is. It's not just what you eat. It is also what you think and feel about what you eat. So that gets us into structure. Structure, in my definition here, is about belief structure, and it is also about the literal chakra structure. So the structure of this, your non-physical anatomy, is literally defined by or affected by the structure of what you believe, what your thoughts are. So your thoughts and what you think and what you believe have an absolute impact on the shape of your structure, the shape of your chakras, and for example, whether they're oriented like this or whether they're slightly askew. And really, the answer to how to achieve longevity is when you are harmoniously mirroring the divine structure of the universe, you yourself get to live forever. So when you make your body shaped like these divine harmonic proportions of the universe, when you make yourself a coherent light being that is shaped just like a galaxy or a black hole or an atom, then you achieve perfect health. But for me to tell you that, that's like very pat. It's very easy. It's like saying, oh, well, in order to live forever, just make sure that your body's structure coincides perfectly with the harmonic structure of the universe. Like, oh, dust off my fingers. Let's go have fun now. Like, no. It's much more difficult than that. Because in order to really practice this longevity, it means you have to constantly be observing your mind and weeding out any thoughts from your thought garden that lead you away from health and away from long life and that cause disruption, that cause disease. And it's really each one of our desire and journey to cultivate thoughtlessness, mindful mindlessness, and to live in bliss. So the chakra system also has to do with what timelines we are choosing to experience. And that's not as simple as saying, like, to say your belief system, you might be like a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist. That is easier to define with like a one-word definition than it is to say like that you believe you will get in a bicycle accident or that you expect to get in a car accident. And yet, if you have either of those two positions in your chakras, you will experience events that will have a negative impact on your longevity. Which is what brings me to context. So context is about the series of external events that are designed to support or not support longevity. This has everything to do with you as an individual. You could be eating the best, most nutritious food, and your chakras could be in perfect alignment, and you could be thinking very positive thoughts. But if we plunge you, let's say, into the vacuum of space with no oxygen and no space mask and no pressure, you will die instantaneously, or, in about 8 seconds. Because it doesn't matter how much you've got good stuff together here, we have placed you in a context that does not support biological life. And now we get down to a lot of the problems in the current time and place where we live. That this is, in a large way, a context that does not support health and vitality, surrounded by tons of electromagnetic fields, surrounded by a chemical sea, surrounded by many formalized systems that are not designed to promote health, vitality, and well-being in humanity. Even the idea of money. You are submerged within a system that uses fiat currency in order to denote energy, and it doesn't matter if you have all of the health and vitality in the world. If you don't have some of this, it is not possible for you to go to a grocery store and get food, and therefore that is not going to cultivate your longevity. You would eventually die of malnourishment if you did not have any of this. This comes down to context. Social context, context of where your physical body is placed. Let's also talk about what people do in order to get money. Plenty of people work at bad jobs in order to get money. They sacrifice their peace of mind. They engage in very stressful patterns of behavior and patterns of emotional, both ingestion and exudation. They sometimes use their body in a way that is either uncomfortable or outright destructive. And all of this adds up to a loss of vitality of the physical body. And the idea is that if you, sacrifice your physical body to get enough of this, then you can eventually buy medicine to make your physical body better, which is, of course, a horrible, backwards, destructive approach to all of this. So what good does it do if you work at a job that is so very stressful that it actually reduces your lifespan? And this is a big thing here. Culture will tell you that you should do that. The culture that you are submerged within tells you that you are a good and a noble and a righteous person if you work in a factory for 40 years and then die, of whatever, black lung or, some asbestos poisoning or whatever. Society tells you that that is a good thing to do. However, you do not have to serve society. That is totally backwards. Society is actually meant to serve you. So it's totally inappropriate for society to say, you are expected to get a job that reduces your vitality and damages your physical body, and you do that in exchange for, paper currency that essentially will give you a tiny amount of immediate nourishment, but nothing in the long term. Activities that support longevity are activities such as exercise and yoga. And yoga is a pretty interesting one because it's like literally a science or a series of information that was achieved through observation over a very long period of time. Literally, if you do certain things with your physical body, like hold it in certain physical poses, it helps to cultivate energy in your chakras. And that's what real yoga is about. Although it is about also stretching and toning muscle fibers, it is really about the divine union between the non-physical aspects of your chakra system and the physical aspects of your actual muscles and tendons. And in order to achieve longevity, the basic answer is these two aspects of self need to be seamlessly intertwined. The physical muscles and matter of your body, like this, should be perfectly intertwined with the non-physical patterns of energy as it flows in the universe. And the final thing that I mentioned in this topic was your emanation, that what you send out has a lot to do with this. And I would say that this emanation, this literally trumps everything else. Because emanation, this is what we emit from our pineal gland. Your pineal gland is the emanator of your reality. So what we're really talking about here, I draw this little diagram all the time about the time cone, and these are made of timelines. And how do we get onto this timeline here? We do that through cultivation of consciousness. The real answer to longevity, how do we achieve total longevity? The answer is by aligning yourself with this timeline. And so it means that you need to do and perform all of the events and activities that exist on this timeline. That's a highly abstract answer. And it also isn't that informative to you in terms of human behavior, because this timeline might involve you eating a cannoli or a bacon sandwich. And yet it also is the timeline of immortality. Because even though you might ingest some kind of, wonderful treat or, some kind of whatever is considered something that's a little bit indulgent, what's different is on this timeline, you encounter whatever is the magical element that allows you to transcend your present limitations. This could be the Philosopher's Stone, or the Fountain of Youth, or nanotechnology that you inhale and that goes into you on a subcellular, subatomic level and rebuilds you from the inside out. But it is the idea that you hold the space for a magical occurrence. And that magical occurrence could be meeting angels or aliens, or going through the rabbit hole, taking the red pill, going out of the matrix, and experiencing a reality beyond reality. That theoretically, even if you have eaten a million bacon sandwiches every day and you have horribly clogged arteries, if you meet magical angelic beings maybe from Agartha, the center of the earth, maybe they will put you into a magical crystal light chamber that will be able to fix the result of those bacon sandwiches. So this is the idea that as long as you hold open the door for, or hold open the possibility of your total rejuvenation and enhancement, that you will be aligning yourself with that possibility as you move into the future. And the idea being that you have a body for as long as you want to or need to have a body, and when you wish to have a different experience or be in a different format, then you may.